Well, hello there, and welcome to the Place to Soar, where our motto is step out and redesign, and the focus is always on you. I'm your host, Anita Russell, and I am very pleased to have two incredibly gifted women on my show. They are both authors. But before we do that, I'm going to just kind of jump right in here and get things rolling just a little bit and tell you a little bit about this show. So I'm the host, Anita Russell, and The Place to Soar is my company. And I have this TV show that is connected directly to my company. And the purpose of this TV show is basically to interview people that I meet every single day. So it could be somebody that I met as an Uber driver. It could be somebody that I met on the bus. It could be somebody I met down the street, just walking down the street. So these are two women that I met kind of in passing. And so we're just going to kind of jump right in and give you a little bit of an introduction into who they are. So the first woman that I want to introduce is Dr. Tenaria Drummond-Smith and Jean Thompson. And both of these individuals are actually co-authors on a very important book that was introduced a little bit earlier this year. It was an international bestseller. And of course, that means that these people had some incredible things to say. So the title of the book, I'm going to make sure I get this right, is Awesome Women on the Move, National Prayer Book. And in it are 152 prayers of everything under the sun. So there's prayers of encouragement to authors, to the homeless, to those who are suffering human rights violations, bullying, etc., etc. So Dr. Tenaria Drummond-Smith is the lead author on the book. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who she is. She is an ambitious, multi-talented entrepreneur. She's the founder and visionary of Awesome Women on the Move, which is a personal ministry birthed in 2006. It has blossomed into a movement, promoting fellowship and unity among women with the love of God through Jesus Christ. Tenaria resides in Queens, New York, and is a former civil service employee. She was motivated by a series of life changes where she had to reinvent herself. And so our second co-author is Jean Thompson. And Jean is a mother of 3 adult children. She's a grandmother of 1, an aunt, a sister, and a godmother to many. She currently resides in her native home of Brooklyn, New York. She has worked in the New York City Police Department for over 20 years. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from the College of New Rochelle. She is a disciple of Jesus Christ, attending the same church for over 25 years, serving as a pastor's aide member and a member of the Mothers Board. In her spare time, Jean enjoys reading, crocheting, traveling, spending lots of time with family, and she definitely has a passion for cooking. So ladies, welcome to the Place to Soar TV. So why don't we just kind of get things started by you sharing a little bit more than what I just read in your bio, just to kind of give the audience a little bit more of an indication of who you are.
So who are you starting with first?
Tenaria, you can go first. I'll just look at on my screen and whoever is in that first position.
Oh, okay. Hi again. My name is Dr. Tenaria Drummond-Smith. I'm founder and visionary of Awesome Women on the Move. I just love getting women together that is in our communities and our churches. And I just like celebrating them, especially for those who are considered underdogs that just do all the work for other people and just never getting recognized. So I feel as though that God has definitely lead me to do such a thing, to bring women forward in the forefront to get recognized for so many things that they might have never gotten recognized to do.
Excellent. Thank you, Tenaria. That was wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
now, Jean.
Well, I'm happily mother of 3 adult children, like you said. I'm definitely a lover of the Lord. I do all I can to help others who are in need. And most of all, I just try to show my community that I'm here for them. I was so grateful to be a part of Tenaria Drummond's vision that when she and I connected, she, through another girlfriend of mine, reached out to me, and that's how I became a part of her vision. And now I'm all for helping not only women to accomplish what they want to, but young people as well and gentlemen as well. So I'm here to be used by the Lord, and whatever I can do to help others, I'm available.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that.
Mhm.
And so, one of the things that I usually do with my guests is introduce them to what I call my 10 SOAR values. And these are values that I came to define for myself as I was on my own journey, going from one place that God had me to another place that God was bringing me to. And so these values have become very important to me, and they represent a core part of what my business, The Place to Soar, is all about. It shows up in my coaching, my life coaching practice, and all of that. So normally, what I will do is ask my guests to review those 10 SOAR values and come up with 2 that really resonate with them. So I'm going to start with Tenaria. Your 2 SOAR values are faith, trust, and belief. And for me, faith, trust, and belief is one 3-chord strand. And so it kind of confuses people when a lot of times when I put that out there, but I consider that to be one thing where those 3 things are complementary. And then the second one that you selected was legacy. So if you could give us a little bit of insight into why you selected those particular values.
Okay, faith for me is I was tried in things that I've happened to experience in my life where I was working for the New York City the Police Department and I got injured on my job. Now, once I got injured on my job, I no longer could work for them at that particular time after my injury. And I got no compensation for anything. And I just, you know, just really started, reading my Bible and saying, Lord, I'm going to need you because let the truth be told, I actually also tried to get public assistance just so that I can kind of get some sort of help because at the end of the day, I had started accumulating all of my money where I couldn't even pay my rent. So with faith, just saying, Lord, I trust and I believe you, and God just started opening up doors for me. And just in praying and fasting, I heard the Lord, as clear as I'm speaking to you, He said, you shall never work for nobody again. And that's when my talents, I started doing things that I didn't even believe that I could do. When you start um, just trusting and just reading and seeing what other people are doing, you kind of figure out that things that you had in you that when you are desperate to try to get, to get some money, you'll start developing and making different things. So that's actually how I developed my faith. I just believe God, and He just took me in another level, and I just started making money on my own. I've never worked for anybody in 18 years thereafter that.
Mm.
And then legacy for me is very, very important. Once I realized that I was multi-talented, I started forming a group for awesome women on the move, and that's how I actually started getting women to start writing books, and me as well as an author. I didn't even think that I could write a book, but then, again, after praying and fasting, I decided that I needed to write my experience in the church. That was my first book. And then thereafter that, I said, you know what? I'm sure I'm not the only one who has a story. So that's how I started getting other women to start writing their own stories, and motivating them to let them know that it's just not a book. It's going to be a legacy, because at the end of the day, we will be dead in God, and those books will still be circulating.
Amen. That is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, and sharing some of those personal moments in your life. I really appreciate that. So, Miss Jean, your
Yeah.
two values are faith, trust, and belief, again, and life transitions.
hmm Well, my faith was tested when I became a single mom. You have to know, and know when I tell you that you can make a meal out of nothing. And my faith was definitely tested when I realized money was low and I had to feed and clothe 3 children. And not only my children, but my nieces and my nephews, and sometimes godchildren. And I was like, the only way I know is the Lord. And I was just like the one with the 2 fish and the 5 loaves. I could make a meal out of anything. So my faith was definitely trusted. And I know it wasn't in man, because I had a plenty of low days of no money, low meals, but my babies were well fed. And I trust and believe in the Lord wholeheartedly, because I know it ain't nothing but God, that when you down to your lowest, He gonna provide. He said, you count on me and I will provide. And life transitions happen when you realize you working 2 jobs and you still won't have enough money, paying the bills. And I said, you know what? Something else got to give. I joined the church. Didn't only rely on the pastor and his wife, I relied on the word. And I know what I know, that when you can rely on God, that is all that I trust and believe in. And when I'm down to my lowest, believe me, my faith is made even stronger, because I know I can count on Him, and He always make a way.
Amen. Thank you. I told y'all these are some powerful women of God, and I just thank you for sharing those parts of your story that connect directly to the SOAR values. So I do want to show this. I want everybody to get a good look at this book. And this is what I would like to now change the topic, so to speak, to kind of talk about this book. And I'd really I talked to Sister Jean, and she sent me a copy of this book. And that was really how this ball got rolling. Because when I saw the book and I realized what was contained in the book, it's a book of prayers and all of that. And I thought how appropriate and timely it is, given where we are now, under the circumstances in which we're living, where everybody's faith is being tested to one extent or another. So I'd really like to talk a little bit about how this book came into existence. And I'm going to start with Tenario, because from what I understand, you're the lead author on the book. So it was your birthing process, so to speak, that gave rise to this book.
Yes. Well, I'm a faster, and I'm a prayer, and I operate in the prophetic. So with me praying and fasting, I literally heard the voice of God tell me that we was going to have something that was going to be taking place in the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And I could barely get up from my knees. I finally got up, and I told my husband, I was crying so bad. I said, Jeff, something bad is going to happen. I see people just dying everywhere. Just something really bad is going to happen in the atmosphere. So I called my husband. I called one of my other girlfriends, which is Dawn Grantham, and I told her the same thing. I had totally forgot all about it. Then when the pandemic hit, She says to me, Tenaria, it's got to be the COVID because the COVID is in the air. You can't see it, right? So, but to make a long story short, but prior to that, I heard God again tell me that He wanted me to write a book. I said, Lord, I just became a best-selling author. He said, I want you to write a prayer book. He gave me strategic instructions. He said, I want you to write a prayer book. He said, I want you to get women, not just in New York. I want women to be out of state, in the state, and if I also want some women out the country. I said, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So anyway, I started calling my girlfriends. They started telling another woman, another person, and even women who I don't even know was calling me out of state. They said they were in prayer, and somebody told them about the book, and they said the Lord told them that they needed to be in this book. And prior to that, again, the Lord told me if I do what He tell me to do, He's going to make me a best-selling author. Not just a best-selling author, but a #1 best-selling author. And He's done over that. He's made the book a bestseller, #1 bestseller, not just in one category, but in 2 categories. And also, too, He has allowed the book to be a bestseller in multiple categories. And not just that, God is so amazing. He has allowed the book, the second day that it was posted on Amazon, it completely sold out for about 2 weeks. So God is amazing. It's nothing but the grace of God who has blessed this book and this
Thank
movement.
you. Thank you. So, Jean, how did you get involved in the book, and what was it that kind of drew you in?
Well, for me, I'm actually sisters in my current church with Tenaria's best friend. They have been best friends from little girls, from the stories that they tell me. Beautiful, beautiful sister, another one of the ones that's dear to my heart. And she had an event. From that event, that's how I actually met Tenaria, but it was Tenaria who reached out to me because Dawn would not tell me. The other girlfriend is Dawn Grantham. She said, well, my friend says she saw something in you at the event. She wants your number. I said, well, who would want my number? Tenaria was one of the vendors, and I met her because my daughter and I went over to buy some shirts. And I said, okay, oh, you talking about the lady with the shirts? And she said, yeah. And she called me, and from there, I was with Tenaria on the phone call, and she said, oh, God told me you want to be a writer. Now, in myself, I always did want to be a writer. It's on a board on my wall. And I was like, okay, I want to be a writer, but how do I write? And she took me along the process of, you put some words on a paper, I'll get it to my editor, my publisher, and from there, we wrote books together. And now I'm in 2 of her books, and both books have become bestsellers. So I'm glad to follow the visionary because she's following the Lord. And just as well, when He speaks, I listen.
Excellent, excellent. So let me ask you this. What do you see as the value of doing a collaborative writing project? And so when I look in this book, there are 152 prayers, and I believe the number of authors is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 51, 52 or so. So when you think about the content of this book, and specifically because it's focusing on prayers, what do you think is the appeal or the value of having it written as a collaborative project as opposed to a single author project?
Well, I think that just having all these different women coming together, allowing them to speak their truth and what it is that whatever's on their heart, whatever is on their heart to meet that person's need, because no 2 person prays the same, you know. So just actually taking the weight and praying for someone, not teaching them how to pray, but taking it upon themselves to pray that prayer of faith. So that's, I just think that it's just a beautiful thing that we can just take time to pray for somebody else other than ourselves.
Excellent, excellent. So what about you, Jean? How do you see it from that collaborative perspective?
Well, I feel for the most part that a lot of times people do want to pray, but sometimes they don't know how to begin. And what I feel we did was we not only took it upon ourselves to assist them in how to pray, but prayer is just communication with God. So that's basically what we did. We just communicated with God from our hearts to something that someone else may have wanted to pray about. And they like, well, how do I begin? You just begin to talk to God. And what we did was we took those prayers from our hearts and we put it on paper. That way, because now that they see it on paper, it's in their heart. But we letting them know some of these prayers are personal prayers. That's we prayed for everything under the sun, but we also took them and we made them personal to situations and circumstances that might have happened to us or happened to someone we knew. And we just took it and put it on paper because, like she said, a book is a legacy. You can always go to that book when we're gone.
And I'd like to elaborate on that, if I may.
Sure, absolutely.
And also, too, when I had selected the 152 prayers, I wanted the authors who collaborated in this book, I wanted them to find something that they could relate to, if that makes sense. I didn't just want to assign someone, well, I want you to pray for love. I wanted them to find something that they can pray near and dear to their heart. You know, it would be more of a personal sort of prayer, if that makes sense. Yeah, so
yes.
it was a wonderful experience. I know I enjoyed all of them.
Yes.
Excellent. So the very first prayer in the book is an author prayer. And when I opened up the book and I saw that, I was like, now how incredible is that? So if I may, I'm going to read just a little bit of what this author prayer says. Oh God, you tell us in your word to write the vision and make it plain. Glory be to God. Lord, help every author's story go forth to do your will and all for your glory. I pray in the name of Jesus that their books reach the four corners of the earth. So can you talk to me a little bit about, number one, why you place this prayer in the very first as the very first prayer in the book, and why was it so important for you to write an author's prayer?
Well, I consider myself to be an authorpreneur, you see. And the reason I say that is because I just want the authors or the co-authors that are in the book, I don't want them just to write a book. I want them to see that there's a bigger picture and just writing a book. I want them to take it to another level, as we are here today to speak about it, to encourage other people, not just to read the book, but let them know that it's possible to take the book to another level. You just never know who may see the book, that we can turn it into a play, and just to actually have other people inspired, to let them know that it's possible for them to, write a book, and just to encourage other authors. It ain't hard.
Yes, it ain't hard. Thank you. Thank you. And just as an author myself, when I opened up the book and saw that, I was like, wow, how cool is that? And then, Jean, your prayer is about bullying. So I'm going to get to, I believe it's 22.
Yes.
Okay, let me just get there. I'm almost there. Yes. And so there's a statement in here that talks about the pain of bully victims. But then you also make it a point in this prayer to pray for the people who do the bullying. So can you elaborate a little bit on that aspect of your prayer?
Yes. I put that in there because we not only should be praying for the victim, we also have to pray for that one that does the bullying, because just like in many circumstances, they too might have been victims.
Mhm.
So when we dealing with just with the victim, we have to realize that that bully didn't just take on that stance all alone. They might have been a bully victim as well. So I pray for my enemies as just as well as we all should, because the word tells us that pray for your enemies and they become your footstool. So we have to realize that yes, there are victims. I was a victim of a bully, and I spoke about it. In sometimes in the church, you're bullied, in your home, in your schools. So sometimes we have to realize that that person that does that bullying, they may need prayer as well, because they don't know.
Excellent, excellent. So, what I'd like to do is shift the conversation a little bit and talk. Still, I want to talk about the book, but from a broader perspective. And if you could talk about what that experience was like in terms of bringing together all of these women to write this book.
Well, I'm going to be transparent. It was challenging. It was very challenging, because you're dealing with all different personalities. And, as a visionary, you have to encourage them despite of, what they're saying to you. Well, I don't know if I can do this. And then, of course, I have to encourage them, we can do all things through Christ, which strengthens us, so it's not basically what I'm saying, but I have to kick the word back to them. And the experience was something that I've never thought that I could do, but I heard God told me that this is what he wanted me to do. And when he's given, one thing I can say about God, everybody has their own relationship with God. But one thing, when God, when you know something is really of God, he will give you strategic instructions in how he wants you to put it all together. So again, it was a wonderful journey. I spoke to each of the women and interviewing them and letting them know what this was entail about, so that way nobody wouldn't, be confused about it. And each one of the women was all on, one accord. And God just performed what he said he would do for all of us. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And not only that, I also gained some great relationships with some new women out of state, in the state, out the country. So I'm looking forward to doing some more business with them all. I'm just excited for what's to come for 2020. No, 2021. Sorry.
2021.
Yeah.
So, Jean, what was that experience like for you as being one of the co-authors and bringing all this together?
Well, like she said, I made a lot of new girlfriends. That's one. I enjoy it because it's women with like-minded visions. I mean, we have to connect with all women, but again, we must find those like-minded visionary women. And it's beautiful because I always stayed on the phone with the publisher, or either I stay on the phone with Tanaria saying, well, this, that, and she would guide us. And not only me, but all the women. Like she says, she does a lot of encouraging, a lot, and a lot of inspiring. And I take a lot of her leadership and I hone on it. But again, like she said, we are here to make entrepreneurs from her to other women. She has done it, and she's letting us know that if I can do it, you can do it too. So it's not like a one-all thing. Whatever vision she has, she shares. Whatever leadership she has, she makes sure that you hone in on your skills as well, because each one of us have our own skill sets. We don't all think alike. We all have differences, but we all have a purpose here. And that's what it is being with like-minded, purpose-driven women. And eventually you take your wings and fly as well.
Amen. Amen. So I do actually have your other book here as well. So I'd like to talk a little bit about this. And you used in what you just said, Jean, you used the word inspiring. And this is an inspirational daily journey. So if you wouldn't mind telling the audience a little bit about how this book came into being as well.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, again, anybody who I encounter with just meeting, walking down the street or going and get my nails done and my hair cut, I'm just having a basic conversation with women. I just feel as though that in this particular project that we should all encourage each other, and I'm all about holding people accountable. I don't like excuses, you see. So if you're someone who loves talking to people, you love being a role model for someone, let's put the vision to paper and let's make it a book. So that way other people can glean from it. So that's what I did, and it's a success.
Excellent, excellent. And Jean, you're actually in this book too, if I recall correctly.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
That was my first book with the ladies. Like she said, we just get together. We're on the phone most of the time. And she said, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But, you take your topic and you do the same thing. And I wrote about, one of my topics in there was about faith. My faith has been made so much stronger knowing that I now can take my skills and talents and use them and go and explore and do other things. So where I used to sit in a lot, and I'm most of the time, for me, I'm an introvert. So I'm always just, but she takes it up another level. And she's like, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it's just a good thing. It's just a good feeling to know that someone's seeing you sometimes what you don't even see in yourself.
Yes, that is so incredibly, that is such an incredible statement to make. And I think, so for me, one of the things that when I kind of look out on people, I've gotten to the point, maybe it's a point in my walk with God, my maturity in my walk with God, where I look at people and I can see the gifts, the talent, that there is stuff in there. Sometimes they can't see that, and sometimes it takes somebody such as either one of you or me as a life coach to begin to draw all of that out, because I truly believe I have a 7-month-old baby in the house. And when I look at him, I'm just amazed, because I'm like, we don't even know yet what the gifts are that are inside of him. But when I look at him, I can see he's filled up. He's just filled up. And it's just a matter of time before eventually those gifts and those talents and all of those things come to fruition. And I also believe that when you get to start getting more towards the latter years of your life, the later years of your life, I don't believe in that thing that I don't have anything else left to give, or I don't have anything new that I can do. God is limitless. And if believe that you were made in the image of God, and if you truly believe that Jesus is your brother, as we are children of God, there's no limit. There's just no limit. So that's one of the things that I try to get across to people. It's just believing in yourself to that extent that there's no limit to what you have inside of you.
And I also think too, with women or just people in general, I think it has also to do with the company that you keep. If you're around people who don't have no visions, who don't have no dreams, and they just settling for just where they are, then that's how you will become. But if you're around people, like-minded people that can help to encourage you and not just talk about it, but lead by example. And I believe that a lot of people would start doing more than what they're doing. Because things are possible. Nothing comes overnight. You have to work at it. So I've been doing this now for 18 years.
Nice.
And I am also to a life coach as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
And what about you, Jean? Do you see yourself as limitless in possibilities?
I have much more to come. You just wait and see.
That's right.
It's a
Yes.
lot. There's a lot more to me to come. I am on a project that I'm doing a solo, and then I have some other adventures that I'm working on. So you just have to wait and see, because I'm not done yet, because I know the Lord is not done with me yet. I got much more
Yes.
time.
Yes. And speaking of that, so what do you have coming down the pike, Tenaria?
Well, well, I'm just gonna say this. You're gonna have to wait and see.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not telling. But know
Okay.
this, it's gonna be a blessing to many of people. It's something for me personal that has been a
Okay.
long time coming, and because of the pandemic, I had to put some things on back burner because we can't do nothing about the COVID. So I'm
Mhm.
still excited about it, and trust me, you will see. I'm excited about it. Very
Excellent.
excited.
Excellent. So we are almost out of time. And what I'd like you to do is give me those final words of wisdom that you would like to leave with our audience.
Um,
Jean, you can go and then I'll go.
I-
Go ahead.
oh, okay. I just want to say, just believe in yourself, because there is much, much, much greatness in each one of us. And we just have to believe it. We just have to trust it. But we most of all have to seek the Lord so that he can guide us and that he can lead us. Because a lot of times without his leadership, we go amiss. We pray and then it don't get answered. And then you think, oh, I'm at a loss. But God says his timing is not our timing. So if you have dreams, you have aspirations, you just have to keep going. You just have to keep moving. You have to keep pushing, because there's much more to each one of us than we even know. But unless somebody sometimes reach out to you and let you know, I see this in you. I know you can do that. And most of the time I get that from my children, like, Mom, you can do it. You can do it. And those are like my cheerleaders. So I'm like raring to go, and you haven't seen the last of me yet.
Excellent. And
Awesome,
Tenaria?
awesome. Well, for me, I would encourage anyone, if you have a vision, make it plain, write it. Don't let your past stop you or whatever it is that someone told you that you cannot do. You have to look at yourself and say that I can do this, you know. And I encourage everyone, don't sleep on your gifts. Personally, for me, I'm going to die empty. Oh, nothing is going to get old on me. I'm just going to keep going as long as I can. I'm gonna write. So be encouraged, and again, just try it out. You done tried everything else out. Just give yourself a try and don't beat yourself up.
Mhm. So the final question that I want to ask is, where can people find your books?
The books are on the books. You can find the books on Amazon. You can find the books in Target. You can find the books in Walmart. You can find the books in Barnes and Noble. You can find the books from Tenaria Drummond-Smith at yahoo.com. I'll personally be able to send you one, or any of the other 52 co-authors, or you can cash at me. Pay Awesome Women on the Move.
Excellent, excellent. So
Thank you.
I think that's pretty much it. I want to thank you, ladies, for coming on. I know we had a couple of mishaps along the way. I was sick for a while and I had to cancel and all of that. But I'm very blessed to have had you all be. Oh, one other question. Is there a website? Do you have a website?
Yes, it's awesomewomenonthemove.org. And I'm also on Facebook, Awesome Women on the Move, on Facebook, and also Awesome Women on the Move blog. And my Instagram is Tinny, Tinny Smith, Smith 7. And
Excellent.
I'm also on LinkedIn, LinkedIn, and you can Google me. I'll come right up.
Okay, so for the audience, make sure you keep that in mind. Awesome Women on the Move. And here are two of them right here. So those of you who took the time out to watch our show and kind of spend some time with us, I want to thank you very, very much. This was actually the first episode that I've done in probably a year, so I might have been a little bit rusty, but there will be more to come, and I'm very thankful to these ladies for taking out their time and doing this, and we will see you next time at The Place to Soar.
Thank you.
Thank you.